There's the stump jumper. And I'm going to give the part number for it and everything here in a little bit. Show how to install that. Alright, this is the stump jumper that I ordered from Agri Supply. It's a 12 spleen for your Countryline cutters with your 5-foot and 6-foot cutters. And the item number is 89742, and I'll leave a link in the description, because when you order these things you have to measure everything. You got to measure the spindle in the center, the distance between the bolt holes of the blades, the holes of the bolt holes, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description, make it easier for everybody to repair them. Okay, I went ahead and sharpened my blades, and these BB-55K bolts, they need grease on them before you install them into the stump jumper. The grease is going to go right here, this part right here that actually touches the blade when it's pressed down like that. So in between the blade and this bolt you need grease, because anytime you have two pieces of metal touching each other and they're moving, it creates friction, and that's when you need grease. But yeah, grease those pins up right there, and then it goes into the stump jumper. Now I'm just showing that these factory bolts that came with the Countryline cutter and the factory blades fit on this stump jumper. You know, the BB-55K bolts and the factory blades. So now the next thing to do is just stick it on the cutter. Now whenever I installed these blades, you got to line up the pins. They got like this little keyhole. You got to line up that keyhole and make sure it's lined up when you start screwing down that bolt. And after it goes in just a little bit, you can tap the other side of the bolt with a sledgehammer, and that'll knock the pin all the way in. Then you can screw it all the way down. But yeah, you got to have that keyhole lined up to get it to go all the way down. And then I put grease, you know, on those bolts, and I also put grease on the inside of the blade that touches the bolt. And I put grease in between the blade and the stump jumper, because the blade kind of touches and rubs up against it a little bit. So yeah, the next thing to do is just stick it on the tractor. Gotta make sure the jack ain't over that hole in the center. Okay, now the problem was getting the teeth lined up. That's why it wasn't going. Once the teeth lined up, it'll jack up. I got most of it raised. I want to show what I'm looking at from this side. But look for that pin in the center. See how it's going through? Now the jack is not on the center of the jumper. It's off centered. So anyways, now I can get my nut on there. Alright, I'm in a very cramped working condition. I just want to show y'all that I can get this nut back on. I'm in a very cramped working area. Now this nut's gonna hold it on. I'm gonna be able to remove the jack, and I don't know what I just did. And then I'm gonna be able to lift it. For the most part, that's pretty much on there. So now I'm gonna get out of here and lift it up in the air. Now you can see I have this cutter lifted in the air, and I'm gonna have to tighten that nut a little bit more with this wrench right here. It uses a 1.5 inch socket. So the nut size is 1.5 inch on the Castle nut. The thread size is 1 inch by 14, or 1 inch dash 14, however you want to look at it. Now, see how my blades are bent? They're moving now. They weren't doing this before. When I got that Countryline cutter brand new, these blades were kind of seized. They wouldn't move. And now you can see this one right here. He's rotating. So they're not, see that? That's what you want to see. You want them to fold down like that whenever it's lifted in the air. But yeah, they wouldn't do that at all. Okay, I got this one bent out. Okay, so that's what you want them to do. See how it just naturally just fell down like that? That's why I put those grease on those pins. You can see it right here, but you want grease in between them blades on them pins so that them blades will move freely like that. And plus I mow around a pond here, so I have to dump this sucker like down on the edge of the bank of the water, and it gets wet, so that grease is going to help protect it. So anyways, next thing to do is to tighten this nut all the way with a tool, put a pin in it, and I'm done. And tighten it enough to where I can get the pin in there. So I have this pinhole lined up now. You can see right here, you can see through it, that little hole there. So yeah, tighten these Castle nuts all the way down, and hopefully the pinhole lines up after you tighten it all the way down. But like I said, if it doesn't line up after you tighten it all the way down, you can try to tighten it more and more all you want, you know. Of course, I'm doing this with a hand tool. I'm not using power tools, so that way I don't over torque anything. But yeah, tighten it all the way down. If the pinhole doesn't line up, just back off of it just a hair until it lines up and put the pin in. Now I got my pin installed. I just reused the old pin because this Countryline cutter is only 2 years old. I think I bought it in 2001, so the pin was still good. I just put it back in there, and that's pretty much it.